Violence is on the rise amongst teachers and other school staff members. Let's get into it. Many teachers are victimized by students, and schools' response matters for their well-being. I will vouch for that. If schools just dismiss it, it just makes you want to just give up. And if they take it seriously, then you feel backed. Verbal, physical, and psychological abuse by students is a serious and pervasive problem. Victimization can damage teachers' emotional, psychological, and physical well-being. The ultimate impact on teacher well-being often depends on the school's reaction. So true. Okay, trends and predictors of teacher victimization. Okay, so led by investigations at the University of Texas, the study investigated trends and predictors, negative consequences of victimization, and administrative responses to victimization. That makes a big difference. Most teachers were victimized. Only 70% of teachers who participated in all 4 survey waves reported no victimization of every type. So only 17% had none. So here's the trend. I'm just going to leave this on the screen so you can look at it for a minute. Verbal abuse. Sometimes people don't think of that, but that saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, isn't true. Words can hurt a lot. And I experienced that a lot in the middle school I worked in. So physical distress, headaches, trouble sleeping, changes in eating and drinking habits, upset stomach, fatigue, muscle tension, back pain, other physical problems. Emotional distress, worry and anxiety, anger, sadness and depression, vulnerability, violation, reduced trust in students, feeling unsafe. Definitely had a lot of this. I could say that on Sunday morning, not even Sunday night, Sunday morning when I was at that horrible middle school, I would get this pit feeling in my stomach and I would start to worry. I would get a dread. School administrative response matters. 48% were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with the school's responses. And 52 were satisfied or very satisfied. Makes a difference. I wasn't satisfied when I was in that middle school. I'm pretty satisfied now. A need to take teacher victimization seriously. Take teacher victimization seriously and implement strategies and programs to address the problem. Implement comprehensive counseling programs, particularly those helping teachers who were repeatedly victimized. Yes, there's so much talk about kids getting counseling and what they need, but you got to take care of the teachers who are dealing with this every day. Adopt policies that support teacher procedural justice and fairness concerns. Recognize that handling teacher victimization with fairness and care can significantly reduce victims' distress. Yes, we realize it's going to happen, but how you deal with it makes a huge difference. So I talked about this in my top 5 news stories. I think everyone's heard of this one. The former teacher shot by the 6-year-old wins a $10 million lawsuit. I'm not going to go too much into this. I already went more in detail on my top 5 teacher news stories of 2025. But I mean, this is the ultimate act of violence, a teacher getting shot. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, that was a huge story of violence that happened this year against teachers. Holden from Classroom Camp did a whole video on this, which when I get a chance to edit this, I'll leave it in the description. But a Stafford teacher files 1.5 million lawsuits against 4 students. So let me summarize. Basically, she tried to break up a fight and she ended up getting her head stomped on, basically, and having a concussion, and she has permanent brain damage for the rest of her life, which is very unfortunate. She was trying to break up the fight and prevent students from getting more hurt than they could have, and this is what she got. It was posted on social media, which is awful. So I don't know if she was awarded that 1.5 million, but that student who did the stomping on her head did not get expelled, just got suspended and was able to come back to the school. So this is where teachers feel like they're not being heard. I am a special education teacher, so sometimes special education students can get violent, and then you're stuck with the, okay, well, is it their disability or is it something they can really help? And definitely they need to be taught other constructive ways when they're feeling frustrated. I know a few ABA therapists, and I know that's one thing they work on. But here, I'm going to read an article about special education. School special education staff are sometimes hurt by students. Yes. So this is an interview. School staff who work with students with disabilities sometimes get hurt by students they serve. That can make it harder for school districts to hire special education staff, jobs that are already hard to fill. Absolutely. I mean, that if you know you're going to get hit on the job, that makes it harder. This is Linda McMahon, the education secretary. These issues have been going on for a while, and because we asked teachers about their worst, these were upsetting experiences we've read. All right, so I teach preschool special education, and one of the many reasons, okay, I do like the younger age better, and I have fun with the little ones, but as far as special education goes, one of the reasons I wouldn't want to do older is because as they get bigger and they can't control themselves in that way, it's going to hurt more. I already have some preschoolers where, whoa, they're pretty strong for 4 and 5-year-olds. Someone who is a teenager that he had autism attacked a teacher. And I think about this because I don't want to just go with the easy way out. So let's say I have a student that throws a huge fit every time we ask that student to share. Was the answer to just not make them share anymore? Because then they're not going to learn, because that's something they have to learn throughout life. And hey, even the behavior specialist said, let's get a hold on it now before they do get bigger and stronger. All right. So I don't know if you guys heard about this story. I'll explain it just in case I get demonetized for showing this. I might skip through the really graphic parts, but this is a student. It was a teacher's aide who took away the kid's Nintendo Switch, and he attacked her. So here she comes. Okay. Basically, he knocks her unconscious. And so she's unconscious right now. And then he gets on top and starts kicking and hitting her. I'm going to go through. Okay. Until see, she's on the ground and he's punching her, till staff members had to come and pull him off and see more people come. And after this was over and they were pulling him away, he was said to have spit on her and screamed at her or something like this. So I do feel like even if this was a situation where he doesn't have impulse control because he has autism and he just got so mad and blanked that then when the episode was over, at least he would have been like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But the fact that he still spit on her, and when he was getting arrested, he was more concerned with getting in trouble than, oh my goodness, I hurt someone. He was sentenced to 5 years in jail for beating the teacher unconscious. And he could have killed her, and had other people not stepped in, he very well could have. So he could have gotten, I think it was from a fine to 30 years in prison. And his mom was trying to get him in a group home. But after seeing how violent he was, I don't even think a group home. What do you guys think? I think 5 years wasn't enough, considering he almost killed her. He could have killed her. It almost should have been an attempted murder. Maybe 30 years would be too much considering he had autism, but there's a few pictures of it. Okay, here's a picture of him stomping on her, hitting her while she was down. A bunch of people had to get him off of her. This is the mom, a quote from the mom. "I beg you to let him come home with me," she reported. "I want my son back." I mean, considering he's as big as a man, I taught 6th grade, so that's kind of at the age where they're not big enough yet. But one time I had to man the hallways, the 8th grade hallways upstairs. And I did think about the fact that whoa, some of these kids are basically the size of grown men and could totally overpower me. something has to be done, or we're not going to have any teachers left, because there's just something that I know kids have less consequences. A lot of people say, bring back the paddle. I don't think that's the answer. But I am saying, like, there needs to be a middle ground from where we were way back when to where we are now, where kids have no consequences whatsoever, because it's starting to just, kids are starting to overtake. And from what I saw when I worked in that middle school, I can tell you that I kept saying to myself, these kids are going to get in the real world with people like us. Teachers have extra patience. We went into teaching because we like kids. We are paid to be around kids, but they get into the real world, they're going to have real world consequences. If they don't have any consequences now, just wait until, they're over 18 and they get charged. So this kid, that the video I just showed you, he was 17 when it happened, and they are trying him as an adult. And he's going to adult jail. Now, he had autism, but that doesn't make it okay to almost murder someone. So what I'm saying is, even if it is part of their disability, it's something that we have to rein in and learn now. And I don't know about all districts, but my district has this program. It's called Handle with Care. I don't know if other school districts have it. Let me know. But they kind of teach you some techniques such as blocking techniques, or the, de-escalating with words. A lot goes into it before, but the ultimate is if you have to restrain a child. And that's if a child is hurting others or hurting someone else. So if you've had this training and you have to use some of these techniques or the restraint, then the county will, they'll take your side. They'll defend you in the court of law if you have to do this, if you've had the training. So all special education teachers have to get it. And glad I have it. Let's just say that. And glad I'm only teaching preschool. Let's just say that too. I can't go into specifics about some of my students, but yeah. And even with even with having that training, it's harder than you think. You really are using your muscles. And I can't imagine when the kids get older and they teach it a little different. There's 2 different classes if it's older kids, because with little kids, you can't use as much force, but basically you're allowed to use as much force as you need to get the kid to stop hurting themselves or someone else. If the kid stops and then you go after them, then you're the aggressor. You know what I mean? So that's the, philosophy my county takes. But I have heard some districts are like, nope, you can't do anything, when the teacher's totally defenseless. All right, thanks guys. Bye, see you later.